Morning all. How's everybody doing? Let me know you're there. Glad I got out of this New Zealand dollar yen this morning. Or last night. Coming down again. So how's everybody doing? Have a good profitable day yesterday. Seriously good moves on the S&P and the indices. Need to see if these are going to hold. We're pulling back very nicely this morning. So fingers crossed this is the bottom, but we'll see. Hopefully. Never know. Just give it a couple of minutes, a few more people to come in. I just had an advert come up for, I don't know if anybody else got the same ad as I did. Obviously you get personalised ads on YouTube. But I just had an ad come up for someone called Rob Brooker. Never heard of him. But it's the $5 Trade Club. And it's a kind of parody of the $5 Shave Club or the $1 Shave Club or whatever it was. That advert, that ad basically went viral. I've never heard of him, but it's a really good advert. But the trouble is, it was a 5.5 minute advert, and it was one of those non-skippables, so I had to refresh it because I couldn't get past this 5-minute advert. But yeah, I'll have to go and watch that. Looked quite funny. He's in playing golf and driving around in an old Porsche, advertising the $5 Trade Club. Anyway, doing some promotion for somebody else. I don't even know who he is, but looked interesting. Right. Morning, Mohammed. Morning, Dom. Darmond. Still going to call you Darmond. Stuck in my brain. Diarmond. Right. So we'll start off with having a quick look at the S&P. I'm flat. I'm totally flat. Look, totally flat. Woo! Which is good. So basically, the only trades I had on was New Zealand dollar yen. I posted them in the Telegram group, but I got out of New Zealand dollar yen last night by the skin of my teeth, by the looks of things. I got out here. Didn't make a lot on it. It was just about 0.4%. Back down again today. And I got out of my euro odd this morning. Where are we? Yeah, it was euro odd, wasn't it? Yeah. So I didn't get out of it. The EA got me out of it this morning, euro odd, on the Australian dollar news. So out that one. I think this one's definitely coming down more, though. We just had a nice reversal out on the hourly and retest this morning. London's looking massively heavy, really big wicks to the upside. And we've broken back down below resistance. So I think this is coming down more, but I'm out. I'm flat. I'm really, really jittery at the market in the minute. It's odd. Everything's odd in the market at the moment, and everything's odd fundamentally at the moment as well. So I'm just being a little bit risk averse at the minute. So we'll start off with indices, S&P and NAS. So yesterday we put in a massive hammer. So if you look at what actually unfolded yesterday, we had this big sell-off. And then we put in a beautiful hammer, and from there we didn't stop for 3 hours basically. And we came up, we went red to green, which is lovely. So we actually had a red to green day. And as I pointed out in the Telegram group this morning, we've had similar days in the past couple of weeks where we've been expecting the rally to continue. Obviously, what we expect with indices is that type of movement. We get the odd deep pullback and then we continue, which is what we were expecting as usual, the 72 bounce, and we didn't get it. And then we came back down and retested the 72, and then that massive week-long collapse started. This is the first time we've had a decent move. Lots of ADRs hitting. We'll go for those in a minute. A decent red to green day at the 200 and off of the support levels. So this looks promising, but like I said this morning, there's a lot of doom and gloom in the market at the moment. There's a lot of people forecasting a collapse, and not just a collapse, a very, very big collapse. We're talking back down to sort of 3400s, wiping 50% off the indices, depression type collapse. So I'm still being very, very cautious. I've got out some of my investment account positions yesterday. I exited a few with a little bit of a loss. I've left a few on, and like I said yesterday, I was going to monitor it yesterday and see what happens, and thankfully we had a decent day, so I've just exited some because I'm still not convinced this is going back up. But if we are going to go back up today, we're going to get a pullback, and we are pulling back beautifully at the moment. So looking at the 4-hour chart, this is the hammer that started the reversal. The reversal put in a new high. We haven't had a reversal alert yet, but we have put in a new high above the wick of this candle. So this is a decent reversal. So it's a 3-bar reversal. Remember my favorite candlestick pattern? That is a textbook example of a 3-bar reversal, basically. Down move, hammer. That can be a hammer or a shoot or a doji, either or. And then a bullish engulfing that engulfs a minimum of 50% of the bear bar. But in this case, we had a full bullish engulfing of the entire candle. So that created a propulsion gap, and at the moment that is exactly where we are sitting, in that propulsion gap. So if this propulsion gap is going to hold, and all the buyers that started this rally that made the new high are going to hold their positions, and i.e. are speculatively looking long, this is where they're going to step in and add to their positions, which is exactly what we're seeing at the moment. Big wicks to the downside at the open of London. So it's looking promising at the moment. This is the propulsion gap on the hourly, and you can see as soon as we entered into this, we've got buyers stepping in, buyers stepping in, buyers stepping in, buyers stepping in. At the moment, we are not breaking down below the propulsion gap. So this is an absolute spot on perfect place in the assumption that we are going to get the rally today, the continuation rally. This is exactly where you want to be buying now, if you're still in this and if you want to get in this. Me personally, I'm just going to sit on the sidelines this week and I'm going to scalp. So I'm looking at low time frame scalping to try and bank some money that way. I don't want to be holding the S&P in case we do get that collapse. Yeah, you know, we're not just talking COVID collapse here. We're talking potential catastrophic collapse. That's a COVID collapse. Most people think that's bad. Going back and look at the Depression. And the other collapses we've had in the past. So I'm just nervous, and there's no point. I had a really good month last month. This month I'm still up, but not a lot. I'd rather not risk my capital on something this big as a drop. It's not something characteristically I've seen before, so I don't have a precedent for it. Therefore, I'm not going to take a punt on it, but I must admit it looks bullish. You don't see many candlesticks that like that don't hold up. Yeah. So so that's where we are with the S&P. Obviously, the NAS is the same. The Dow is the same. It's the same thing. They're all the indices are the same thing. So you trade one or the other. Don't trade all. So yeah, they're all looking good. Bitcoin recovered along with the market. As well, so did Ethereum. So the crypto is recovering at the same rate. These crypto appears now to be mimicking index. So I think what's happened with these is they've inadvertently become index linked, and we are seeing the same price action unfolding across these as we do across the rest of the market now. So think of them like a stock. They've become a stock. They're just not included in the S&P or the NASDAQ or the Dow or the DAX, yeah, or the FTSE, but they are mimicking an index behavior. So that's basically what's happening with the indices. Mohammed, please, which brokers you recommend or you yourself use? Brokers are down to you and whichever country you're in, and whatever leverage you want to get. It's a personal choice. Personally, I use Axie, I use Pepperstone, I use RoboForex, and DarwinX, all for different purposes. So my DarwinX account I use for a different purpose to my Axie account, which I use for a different purpose to my RoboForex. So it depends what you want to trade, how you want to trade, and what you want to do with your trading. If you want to scalp super low time frames, you need a fixed spread broker like TD365. It's entirely up to you. Personal choice. Some commission, low spread. Some no commission, higher spread. The only thing I would say about brokers is pick an established one, and pick one that you know, right? So the ones that have been around for a decade, people like Axie, IG, big players. Use the big players, yeah, because you know you're going to be safe with them. If you pick the small ones in the Cayman Islands that have been around for 6 months, you've only got yourself to blame. Do your due diligence. Look up when their website was built, yeah. Go to the Wayback When machine. Go to do a Whois check. Yeah, this is something which is very useful to do. Right, do a Whois check. Just type in Whois. Yeah, go to who.is, and then pick a broker. Yeah, and have a look at them. Yeah, been around since 1998. Trust them. Been around since 1998. Still around since 1998. Yeah, still around now. So yeah, do things like that. Just check them out. There's a lot of crooks out there. But the big boys, the guys, right. Final advice on brokers, really, really simple. Any websites you visit to do with Forex trading. So here, for example, we'll have a look at the calendar. Let's do the calendar now while we're here. Right. If you see the same old ads coming up here all the time, right, this costs a lot of money to put these ads there. If you see the same old ads coming up here every time, they're a good broker. FXCM, been around for donkey's years. FXCM, choose them. Don't know, just pick a big one. Big regulated broker. Don't pick a Cayman Islands, been around for a year type broker. All they're going to do is take the other side of your trade and they're just going to spread you out all the time and take your money. So they all do that, but some of them have been fined many, many millions in the past and have been stung and don't do it again. Those are the guys you want to use. Right, so quick look at the news while we're here. Gone off on a tangent this morning, haven't we? Again. Aussie dollar. So we had news on the Aussie dollar this morning. CPI came out positive. Impact on that was not huge. So we had a big old gap, depending on your broker, obviously. Depends whether there was liquidity there. But we had a nice big push on the Aussie as we got that news coming in. But it's not done anything. It's just either gone into a consolidation or it's retraced. So no news there. No real impact, as I should say. But it's still positive. We are short Aussie dollar still. So, but yeah, it's good news, but not dramatically good. 9 o'clock this morning, German IFO business climate. It's a survey. It's not particularly impactful, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Might see some euro movement. Consumer confidence this afternoon. That I find can be erratic. The market does tend to have a little bit of reaction to that sometimes. So just keep an eye 3 o'clock this afternoon. But typically, no. So that's it for news today. It's bank holiday in Australia, but that's over. They're all asleep now. So, yeah, I'm saying they're all asleep. There's probably some Australians on here now going, I'm not asleep. That was a really bad Australian accent, sorry. I spent 2 months in Australia and New Zealand, so I should be able to do one, shouldn't I? So yeah, no more news today. Tomorrow is the big news day. We got CAD monetary policy and the press conference and an FOMC. So tomorrow is the day. So whatever moves going today, we'll be setting up for tomorrow, whether that be continuation plays or reversal plays. So it's an important day today to see where we end up from a market perspective, especially on the US dollar. So that's news. Looking at the dashboards and indices and everything, the dashboards are RSIs and the ADRs. See, we've got a lot of things hitting. RSI dash, Aussie New Zealand is the first hit today. Really, really good, strong move out of London on this one. We've taken us straight up to 125. So we basically were at 100 ADR. Just look at this gap, right? Again, talking about brokers, yeah. This is a broker candle. This is basically them spreading at the swap. So they will basically, if you don't know how brokers work, they have a little dashboard in front of them which says this is current price. If you go here or here, you will make this amount of money because there are stops sitting there. So this will make you 100 and this will make you 150. Obviously these numbers are way bigger than 100 and 150. Let's put a K on the end, depending on the size of the broker. So what they do at the swap is they spread. The spread widens dramatically. They gobble up all this money and then they pull it back to where it was. Yeah, so this is what we call a broker candle, which is a 15 pip move in this case, which is about a third of an ADR. So they've moved a third of an ADR. So you need to take this out of the equation, really, and you'll find a lot of brokers will do the same, exactly the same thing. So this is really a 100 ADR hit, this Aussie New Zealand. So really good strong push. And we are up at highs. Looking at levels on this one, obviously we've had this breakout. And this is the new high that was formed. So if this is going to be a sort of failed breakout, we shouldn't break these highs. So good spot to start taking shorts from, potentially on Aussie New Zealand. Levels wise on the hourly, obviously we're just up at the same sort of level. So if we get up to 150 ADR today, there's potential for obviously this just to be a liquidity run. But remember I said with this one, it's actually done exactly what I said it was going to do, hasn't it? Remember I said yesterday I'd be looking for a pullback and a bounce out of this zone. We've 100% exactly what we've done. So this to me looks like it's bullish. So Aussie New Zealand, so I wouldn't be shorting this one today. This is basically a breakout support bounce. So you want to be longing it. So not a good one for ADR reversal. It probably will pull back. It's probably going to fade. Remember I said it's going to fade into this zone here. It's probably going to fade into that zone there. But then catapult up. So not great. Jacob, could you please remind when and how did you exit your positions on S&P? On Friday, I closed them all out with a loss. 2.5K. Friday went flat. I'm not holding it. I don't think it's going up. So, and it hasn't. I'm glad I got out. So I took a loss on that basically, and on my investment account, I closed some out as well. But I'm still sitting in drawdown on that on most of that, so I'm all right on that one. But that is long term anyway, so I used that whole account for drawdown. But I will be getting out some more. Swiss yen is the other one. So Swiss yen coming down, very nice double bottom potentially. Remember the Swissy and the yen are the ones that tend to power up when we have a risk on and risk off scenario. The tensions are still building at the Russian-Ukraine border. There's apparently another 8,000 troops or something they've put in place. So it's getting a little bit more, or 30,000 troops or something. So there's 130,000 Russian troops massing on the Ukrainian border at the moment. America have committed 8,500. That's going to make a dent in case it kicks off. So just be very, very careful with anything to do with Europe at the moment, obviously, and that sort of area. We are all likely to be impacted with any kind of conflict because obviously money then has to be piled into conflict. We have oil pipelines being shut off. We have economies struggling, obviously, because the money's not there. People aren't spending money. No matter how small or big the conflict is, the ripple that comes out of it when that stone's dropped in the water is huge. And it starts where the conflict is, which is related because currencies where we tend to get money flowing in and out when we have problems in great speed. So this one particularly is contracting, and we're at a critical point here. So we are either, this is hit ADR, we are either going to get the bounce play out of this wedge, or it's going to break down. Either way, it's going to move very, very soon. Prices getting more and more and more and more contracted down there. So obviously the players, ADR low at the moment, which is good for a long, but it's not extended on any other time frame at the moment. So there's not really any play as such. We looked at this one yesterday for levels as well, didn't we? For potentially a bounce off of the 72. So it's very, very difficult to call this one. The yen, I have taken off my New Zealand dollar yen because I'm scared of the yen at the minute. I've been all January, I've been trying to get a handle on which direction the yen wants to go, and I can't. I can only imagine it's going to power up along with the US dollar, but that is going to be dependent on what happens with conflict and everything else that's going on at the moment. So US dollar is looking strong. It's broken back in this area, and that would indicate to me that the yen will probably strengthen up, which is why I got out of my New Zealand dollar yen, because I was long on it and I didn't want to be long on it. But it's the same with the Swiss yen. If that is going to happen and the yen is going to start to power up, it's not really going to take its foot off the gas for a while, and we'll probably get some kind of squeeze equivalent to what we see there on the screen. So it's difficult for me to take anything long against the yen. I'd much rather be shorting it. So again, with this one in particular, I'd rather be looking for short opportunities on everything against the yen rather than longs. But it is nicely extended, and we are at a beautiful support area. So your choice. It's a long way away to get an entry as well. You kind of have to take price action on this. You have to take bullish engulfing, because by the time you get that alert, you're buying into resistance. Yeah, you don't want to be buying into resistance. If you take a buy there, you're buying immediately into resistance and a selling gap. Yeah, so not looking particularly good, that one either this morning. Euro Swiss, really nice extent. Love this one at the moment, assuming Russia doesn't invade Ukraine. Okay, sorry to be so vague, but we don't know what's going to happen, do we? It's a time for using stops, if I'm not honest, at the moment. It's much better to be scalping at the moment with tight stops, because it's so volatile, the world at the minute, and at any moment anything can go wrong. So, but saying that, ADR high hit on the euro. We had a lovely V-shaped recovery yesterday on this one. It is pushing up higher. I'm selling the euro and have been selling the euro for a long, long time, and looking for opportunities for the euro to get extended to the upside to short it, as you can see from here. I've been shorting the hell out of it. Every time we get high, we short it. We're pushing up high. So ADR high, you could take a scalp to the short side here. We've got this little area of pressure here after this breakout, which was retested, so I wouldn't really count that as such. But this area here is the main resistance that we're going to come up against. But there is minor resistance at multiple points on the way. So we're right at 100 ADR at the first potential resistance point, the second potential resistance point there and there. Okay, so it looks good. If we get all the way up to there, probably going to be extended on the hourly. If we get up to there, definitely extended on the hourly. So lovely looking short. It's whether or not you want to start building a position here, or whether you want to let it run, or whether you just want to take a tight stop position. The next reversal alert. It's coming off 100 ADR perfectly, look, with about 13 pip stop, and then assume we're going to come back down and retest that area, which is about 50. So it's a lovely risk reward on it as well. 4 hourly, nowhere near. So by the time, if we get a continuation push up to here, we're still probably not going to get an extension. You know, this is where I'm interested. As you know, 4-hour RSI is my basic play. 4-hour RSI extension pullbacks. I don't think we're going to get up there. And it's the same as we had on the Euro Swiss all last year before Christmas. Remember, I kept saying over and over again, I really, really want to short this. And I wanted to short it all this time, but it didn't give me any signals. So I missed a load of it. If you were playing it on the hourly, you obviously had a lot more opportunities to get in on that move. But again, they were few and far between. We had a couple didn't quite get one there. So that was the short. So really only a couple of opportunities. Almost there. Lovely M. But yeah, so I love this short. And it's obviously an ADR hit to the high. So one that I would, look to get into. But I want to see. I'm being super cautious. I'm being super strict with myself. I'm following my rules. If it's not extended on the hourly and the 4 hourly, I'm not interested at the moment. Not with the way the market is. It's just too volatile and too. Feels like a game of Jenga at the moment. We're playing with the S&P, and I don't like it. So that's just my opinion. Euro Swiss pound odd ADR hit. So pound odd, very, very nice hit to the downside. That was off the back of the news. We've sprung back up again, so we can't really trade that one. Pound Swiss, beautiful reversal going on the pound Swiss at the moment. That's a lovely looking short as well. The pound has flipped long. So obviously this is counter trend, or counter cot, I should say. We're just coming up to an area of potential resistance. So here we tapped into twice. We're just coming back up to retest that area, but this is the level I would be looking at, or here. If we can push up into that area or that area, which is going to be asking a lot today, 150 to 200 ADR. This is obviously off the back of a weak Swiss franc. We've had a very strong Swiss franc. Remember, I keep saying it over and over again, feel like a stuck record, but when the Swissy goes, the Swissy goes. When the Swissy takes its foot off the gas, the other currency takes over. Yeah, this is the Swissy taking its foot off the gas, and this is why we're getting this move. Your entry was actually yesterday on this one. But yeah, so lovely bounce off support. So just look at support resistance levels really. But that is an ADR hit to the high. The pound is along though, so be careful. Pound New Zealand, again hit to the high. This is off the back of the Australian news. So Aussie news affects the New Zealand dollar as well. So ADR high hit. It's quite nice actually. But again, pound long, so not the best ADR in the world. I would rather be taking pound down there because the pound has flipped long. But again, Boris Johnson, I keep saying the same thing every day, don't I? He had a party on his birthday, another party. I think number 10 do nothing but party, do they? That's basically it. They party. So we had another party announcement on his birthday. There's already pressure for him to resign, and he's just come out again and said, actually, yeah, I had another party. So he broke the rules again. The world is just fed up with him, I think. The UK, I know, is fairly fed up with him. The problem is, obviously, if we are going to go into any kind of conflict, we need somebody in charge that is going to do the right thing. And at the moment, there's no confidence at all in the party. So we've got that hovering over the pound as well. You see what I mean about the catalysts? You've got to look at fundamentals when you're trading long term, which is basically what we're doing when we're position trading. It's a dangerous time to be doing it at the minute because there's too many things that could upset the apple cart. So just got to be a little careful. But pound New Zealand, as I say, it's a long for me. So I wouldn't be taking a short ADR on that one. And the New Zealand's, so New Zealand dollar CAD, has, let me just zoom out a little bit so we can see what we're doing. Good old New Zealand. Occasionally you get the indicator, the reverse alert indicator looking like that. Weird. Yeah, you just have to write it off and go, nip, I'm not getting involved. This is Axie, my broker, loves doing this with the New Zealand dollar. It happens a lot with the New Zealand dollar. There's a wick there. Let's go down to the 1 minute chart so you can see it. Yeah. Anybody that's got long in the last, I don't know how long, they're all stopped out. You get these shenanigans. This is the news. You see what I mean about the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar being linked? This is the Aussie dollar news, and this is what happened to the New Zealand dollar CAD. New Zealand dollar Swiss, same thing. New Zealand dollar yen, same thing. Yeah, they spiked the New Zealand dollar out dramatically. So I'd just steer clear of anything to do with ADR really today on these. But yeah, not really interested. New Zealand dollar CAD is no bias long or short. This isn't really an ADR hit, so we can just completely ignore that one. Let's just ignore it. New Zealand dollar Swiss is not an ADR hit. Ignore that. New Zealand dollar yen, that is an ADR hit low because this wick was not part of the ADR calculation. So this pushed up to the highs, and we've got an ADR low hit on this one. Again, do you want to be taking a long against the yen? Personally, I'm not interested. So I'd rather be taking shorts, assuming that we're going to get the yen powering up. So not one for me. It's already kind of played out. The reversal alert was there. You've already had your profit on it if you took it. So if you took it, well done, but I was asleep. US dollar Swiss, last one. Hit to the upside. US dollar, we're long. Don't really want to be taking shorts on the US dollar. So again, not a great ADR for me. And also we got this stupid wick down there, which is broker candle. Massive broker candle. Ignore. Mohammed, what about if someone wants to follow your trade orders? Do you have something like that or not? Nope. Don't do it. Don't do it. I've been doing this for 13 years. I have personally, and I do not know anybody who has ever made money following anybody's signals. Do not trade signals. Learn to trade. If you want to make money in this, you have to treat it like a business. If you're going to do signal following, you'll fail. There you go. Said it. Don't do it. Don't follow signals. I do analysis every day in here. Every morning and every afternoon I do analysis. Some people will agree with my analysis, some people won't. What I'm trying to do is show you what I do so that hopefully everybody can learn something. Yeah, how I see the market, how I view market structure, how I draw support and resistance, what I'm looking for on a daily basis, the fundamentals, how they impact the market, how pairs move together. All that sort of thing is stuff you need to know, and this is stuff that I show on a daily basis. If I say go short on US dollar Swiss because it's hit the ADR high and this thing shoots up 200%, I'm wrong. But if you follow every signal I give you and every piece of analysis I show, you're going to be wrong because you're not me. I take trades based on me, my risk, and how I want to trade. But I won't be posting every signal. And the reason signal services don't work is because you won't be able to follow them. Yeah, there's guys out there who do scalping, right, on YouTube. Yeah, you know that all YouTube streams are delayed by a minimum of 30 to 60 seconds, right? If he hits that buy button, yeah, by the time you see that, he'll be out. You're not going to make money doing that. If somebody posts a signal in Telegram, by the time they've posted that signal, you're out. They're out, right, if they're scalping. If they're long-term traders, right, they will take a short, right? Let's say, for example, on the US dollar Swiss, I'm going to take a double top here, right? I'm going to go short. It's looking good. Lovely ADR hit to the high, lovely double top potential. If I hit the short button here, right, and this thing comes down to here and bounces, my TP is down there, right? My stop is there. So I've got a lovely big risk reward. There's my TP. And I post that in a Telegram group, right? And this thing comes down to here and I see a big bullish engulfing. I'm going to close that position. And I'll post that in the Telegram group. If you don't see that for 3 hours and by that time it's got up to here and you've stopped out, you've lost money and I've made a fortune. Unless you're going to watch a signal service 24/7, you will not make money copying people's trades. Yeah? Just don't do it. Learn to trade. If you're serious about making money doing this, you need to learn how the market moves. You need to learn how to trade. So I'm not having a go at you personally. I'm just ranting because I get asked this question 10 times a day. And there's somebody in the Telegram group this morning who I've just banned out the Telegram group because he's asked again this morning, guys, share signals. I've told him 3 times it's not a signal service. He's gone. I'm not interested in people that are trying to follow signals. They're just trying to get rich quick, and you cannot get rich quick in this. This is a business. Treat it like a business. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Anyway, carrying on. Sorry. That's my rant of the morning. I am in a good mood this morning. Believe it or not. Right, so ADRs, RSIs, sorry. There you go, US dollar Swiss. Just crack that top. So just... there's liquidity there. Everybody that went short on Thursday, their stops are up there. Do you remember what I said on yesterday morning? about FOMC, just going again off on a tangent. FOMC, basically, we get one of two things happening on FOMC week. We get an accumulation week on the Monday and the Tuesday. And then basically the Wednesday, they take it in one direction or the other. Or we get a push and a reach, which basically is to grab liquidity before they reverse that move. So keep an eye on this. If they're grabbing liquidity here, they'll likely pull back today and then potentially do that. But also, what they could be doing here is grabbing that liquidity, pulling back. Everyone goes, it's a double top, puts their liquidity there, and then tomorrow in FOMC they do that. So just, this is what I say about this is why I think this room is useful. Looking at how I'm viewing the market is more important than following somebody's signals. So US dollar Swiss double top, potentially going in, and liquidity run. CAD yen. Right, so all of these yens, as I say, that are hit to the downside, a lot of the positions that I've called out over the last over the last week, basically, that have been RSI extended, obviously have all dropped off now because they all did their reversals or started their reversals yesterday. So you had the opportunity yesterday to get out of the vast majority of those positions that were pushing. CAD yen. We've had this big, strong push down. We got RSI extended on the hourly. We got a nice bounce yesterday, as we did on most things. So on the 4 hour, we were much deeper extended on the RSI. We've got a lovely head and shoulders formation going in on the RSI as well at the moment. And we have pulled back down for a 72 bounce potentially. But like I say, this is what quite often will happen with the yen. So just be careful, because if we are going to get a continuation push on the US dollar, which is looking likely when we look at the index in a minute, the yen will follow suit and push everything down. So although this is nicely extended, I just, at the moment, because it's the yen, if it was the CAD and something else, I wouldn't be so concerned. But because it's the yen, I've just got this feeling that the yen is going to power up. So I'm just not interested in these at the moment. But if you are, you probably would have taken this one yesterday on M15. And depending on what your TP was, if it was half an ADR or so, you're already out. So yeah, nice play there. Potential has got continuation on it, but not for me at the minute. Pound yen, same story. You can see it's exactly the same. You can see this shows you how much in control the yen is at the moment. Yeah, the CAD yen, the pound yen, it's the same chart in effect, isn't it, that you're looking at here? The New Zealand dollar yen, yeah, very, very similar. So this just shows you how much power and strength the yen has at the moment. The yen is in control of all of these other currencies. It's all being manipulated. So when the yen is that strong, it worries me, because when it goes, and if it wants to go in any direction, it's just going to go, and you are not going to get off that train for a while. So, and this is what I've been trying to determine all January, is what the hell's going on with the yen, and I can't. So pound yen is extended to the downside. Now this is on the COT report, this is a bias long, because the pound has just flipped long, and obviously we've got a short yen open interest at the moment. So your trade, oops, sorry, one button. So your tradable bias on the pound yen is long, okay, on all pound pairs basically, apart from the pound US dollar, which is neutral. So pound yen is a long. So yesterday, obviously we had RSI extension down here. We actually had it from this 72 bounce, so you may well have got into the pound yen long on the 72 bounce, and then you would have added yesterday. So unlikely you'll be out of this at the moment. So hopefully we'll get a continuation pullback today, and that'll give opportunities to get out of that one. But again, I haven't taken anything long. I took that New Zealand dollar yen long, and I said when I took it, I'm not comfortable with this one, which is why I didn't take any of these other yen extensions that we had this week, because I didn't want to overexpose on the New Zealand dollar. And so far I've been proved right, but you know, this thing could weaken and shoot off to the upside. But just look at all the selling pressure. Yeah, every time we get a really decent accumulation, we get a lovely M pattern break, reversal alert there. Left big gap, left big gap, left big gap. You know, we sold off, broke the lows. Buyers tried to crack it, and sellers went nah. And we're trying again, but at the moment, all we're doing is contracting, ready for a break. And I think probably the break is going to be to the downside when we get some US dollar strength coming in at the end of London into New York. And that will again potentially push down the indices. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't really like this one either at the moment. Like I say, I'd just rather keep my powder dry for a week and sit here and see what happens than take on risk unnecessarily. Like I say, I'm going to scalp. So pound yen, but it is technically very, very nice long opportunity. Pound US, same thing, but we are expecting strong pound, a strong US, and we're getting strong US. So pullback and continuation to the downside. So again, this is very, very nicely extended, but we just haven't had any follow through from it. So don't like it, and I don't like particularly support resistance on this one. If you look at where we've bounced there, it's off of these wicks here, and we have rejected it in the past, but there's a lot of buying pressure in here, and this is also, if you look at the fib, a nice 50% retracement on this move. So potentially we could get a little bit more down movement back into this accumulation. And I think that's probably what we're going to get today with the US dollar. I think they're going to push it a little bit more today. But you could potentially get the continuation move to the upside on that, which is basically a strong US dollar, which will just push all other currencies down. So again, we've got the potential to get into a squeeze on the US dollar. But ahead of FOMC, I'd rather wait for FOMC and then get confirmation of what they're doing with the US dollar and then jump in. That's just me. But technically, again, very nicely extended. You had the 15-minute alert yesterday in New York. If you've taken it, you had 40 pips, half an ADR, but that's all you've had. So London's obviously not interested in going anywhere at the moment. So that's nicely extended. New Zealand dollar Swiss. Again, very, very big extension. The New Zealand dollars were all very, very extended. This is playing out nicely because the Swiss franc's taken its foot off the gas. So the New Zealand dollar has been bolstered, obviously, also by the Australian positive news. So we're getting a decent move on this one this morning. But again, the RSI extension kicked in somewhere around there on 21st, which was here on Friday. So first reversal alert on this one was here on Asia. So that would have been your initial entry. And obviously second entry yesterday, you'd be out of those potentially already. But this one's got a little bit more room to go to the upside. So there's your resistance up there potentially. So we've broken new highs. Market structure on this one, obviously. That's the low. We broke those highs no, we didn't actually. We triple topped them, didn't we? So we didn't actually break those highs. So market structure on this one is actually still bearish until we break this high. If we can break the Asian highs today, yesterday's high in London, yeah, that is then a market structure reversal, which is the low, new high. Then we would look for a new low and new high. At some point on the hourly, you'll be able to see that a lot clearer. Yeah, so we need to break this level here for this reversal alert retest to be confirmed. And then we'll be looking to go up to resistance. And then at resistance, who knows? Depends what the Swiss franc does. So New Zealand dollar Swiss, yeah, nicely extended. But again, it's broken out. Yeah, we've had this massive accumulation, and we just collapsed out of it. So that is much more interesting to me, but like, beautiful W forming. It's a lovely little long, but it's a short-term long, yeah? 61,900 area. You don't want to be holding it any longer than that. New Zealand dollar yen, I'm out this morning. Yesterday. Just again, same thing. Yen. I just don't want to long the yen, so I bailed. But it's looking good. It's looking all right at the moment. It's nicely extended. On the hourly, we had extensions, but it's just so weak at the moment. At the minute, we've got a beautiful retest of the reversal alert. I'd ignore that wick. That retest is not really a retest. There's the break. If we can break back above there, that will be the retest. So really, that's the retest I'll be looking for here. Up into these areas. Yeah. But again, as I say, I'm just too jittery at the minute. So I'd rather be trading it short at the moment. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, exactly the same. Obviously, it's US dollar strength. So haven't even had a reverse alert on the hourly on that. Look, this thing is still getting trampled. There is signs of bullish price action coming in, but look where they stopped. So this is the support resistance area that I drew on the chart. Yeah, we had a little bounce and then we smashed through it, came straight back up, retested it, and it hasn't got through. So it's bearish, but I think it's so extended away from the 24 at the moment. I think what we're going to get, remember I keep saying about the moving averages, one of two things happens with moving averages. As a moving average comes down, price either trades away from it and pulls back and bounces, or price trades away from the moving average, accumulates, the moving average comes down on top of it and then pushes price down. I think what's more likely to happen in this case is the latter. We push down, go into an accumulation, moving average will come down on top and go down from there because this is holding. So again, not a great looking opportunity. And US dollar CAD, massive extension to the upside on the 4 hour. If you took this yesterday, you were in up there. But again, I said yesterday, I'm not really interested in shorting the US dollar. And we got the reversal alert on M15. We're just accumulating today. So yeah, not a lot I'm interested in really. Aussie dollar Swiss has just hit ADR as well. Again, big broker count. Look at this is the trouble with CFDs. The liquidity isn't there. And you just get like so much slippage and spread. So that's not really an ADR for me. That's kind of where I would start measuring ADR. So just be careful with these some of these broker candles when there's light liquidity in the market. Hourlies, dead, flat, nothing happening on the hourlies at all on the RSI. So anybody got any questions on anything else? We'll have a quick look at the index as well. So US dollar, obviously same thing as I've been saying for the last week or so. This is the range, and this was the support bounce where I said we were going to look for getting support down at this area, which was this propulsion gap. Didn't quite get to the gap, but did get to the support. Bounced back up into the range and held. And now looking bullish. So this is your low. We will be looking to break these highs at some point in the next few weeks, I think. So, yeah, continuation. Obviously, FOMC coming up tomorrow. We may well see today liquidity get run and then pull back into this area. So we might get a decent pullback in New York today. And then FOMC off to the upside. If we get a big strong push up into this area, and we can get up to range highs before FOMC, i.e. put in an ADR move today, I think probably what will happen is FOMC will do that. We get in FOMC, we get the double-ended stop hunt. That's probably what will happen in FOMC. So it all depends what happens. But either way, I'm still long at the moment on the US dollar. So any positions, obviously US dollar wise, US dollar CAD, look to buy the dips. Everything against the US dollar, look to sell the rips. Okay, so that's all I've got today, really. As I say, I haven't got any positions on. I'm not really interested in getting any positions on. I'm going to be scalping. I've been scalping other things today. I've scalped the DAX today, this morning at the open, which was quite fun. Made 10%, which was nice. So I've been scalping the DAX. The S&P, I've got my EA running on the S&P. It's not done bad. I'm up 10% in 2 days, which is pretty good. That's some of the DAX scalping I've been doing. Yeah, basically just I'm being ultra cautious at the moment. I'm not sure really on anything at present with what's going on everywhere at the minute. So I'm just kind of taking a little bit of a back seat at the moment. But I'm going to be scalping with S&P this afternoon. Managed to just about get back to break even yesterday. I was down $1,000. I ended up 280 down roughly yesterday on S&P. If you were watching what I was doing yesterday with the futures. So yeah, not good yesterday. I had a 500 loss on Friday as well. Just trying to buy this market, and obviously I stopped scalping down here. Where are we? What's about five? So it's about here. I stopped scalping after taking a little bit of a loss there, and then I said one final trade. As we got down, I was going to go in big, and I went in big, and I managed to get myself back to virtually break even, and I bailed. And obviously, as soon as I bailed, it went boom. But that's how impossible to tell what's going on in the market. A V-shaped recovery of that size and magnitude on the NAS and the S&P is rare. You just can't predict stuff like this happening at the moment, especially with the S&P. Selling off and collapsing at the rate it is. But we popped straight back down to, let's look at the NAS. The NAS bounced perfectly off of the 13,700 level. So 13,700 was obviously the target. And that's what it hit yesterday. So today, as I say, what I would be hoping for is a decent pullback on this move. So a decent pullback on this move. If we can get down to ADR today on the NAS before the New York Open, I think there is potential for a bounce. We haven't looked at earnings, have we? Reminds me. I think there is potential for a bounce play because they're going to want to move back up, but it's whether or not this is the new market structure. We've entered a bear market. We're not going to know that until we get back up here. Until we've pulled back here, we're not going to know if we're in a bear market or not. If we close down today, pretty much we're going to know we're in a bear market. So earnings today, there's lots. Today kicks off earnings week. Earnings fortnight kicks off today. So Tuesday 25th, we've got these are all post-market. The only pre-market. These are all pre-market. The only aftermarket we've got is Microsoft. So these are all pre-market today. We've got Verizon, Johnson & Johnson, General Electric, American Express, and 3M. We had IBM yesterday. That was aftermarket. So I haven't looked at basically what's happened with IBM. Yeah, it's rallied. So I'm assuming IBM's it's rallying. So I assume because it's pre-market, IBM was okay. Yeah, so obviously today kicks off. Microsoft is one of the big ones, obviously, and that one is happening aftermarket. And then tomorrow, pre-market, we've got AT&T, ADP, and Boeing, and then Intel and Tesla. Tesla is the big boy, obviously. So there's so much potential. And as I said yesterday, all of these over the last past 8 earnings have had more than 1% gains. So it's all forecast bullish. And the fact that we put this in yesterday, any other time, if I hadn't seen a sell-off of that ferocity, getting below the 200, which is a massive rarity, I would be like, buy the hell out of this thing. But the sheer speed and force of that move has spooked the market and me. So every now and again, the market comes and kicks you in the backside and says, don't forget who's in control. And people got kicked over the last week. So, everyone is sitting on the sidelines a little bit at the minute. Well, the sensible ones anyway, put it that way. I would recommend, obviously, if you're going to trade this at the moment, tight stops, scalp low time frames, futures, and if you're going to scalp, just keep it in control at the minute, because this thing could go anywhere over the next 2 days. Mohammed, thanks, but I still mean following, not signals, especially if I trust your work. So it's kind of help. And anyway, I will be my decision to take the risk or not. Decision. Right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, this is what my analysis is here for, is for people to watch. And for me, personally, and this is because this is what has benefited me in the past. For me personally, it's not seeing what trades somebody takes, following the trades that somebody takes. It's seeing how their brain and their process of analysis works is what I think personally is one of the most helpful things. It's the psychology side of things, but it's the process. What am I doing every day to make my decisions as to whether I go long and short in the market? What is impacting my decision-making process? I think that's much more important than whether or not I pull the trigger now because I've got 2 hammers on the S&P. Yeah, that looks bullish as hell. So, yeah, and look at where it's rejecting out of. That's a textbook setup for me. If we didn't have what's going on in the world and we hadn't had what has just happened in the indices happen over the last week, damn right I'd be pulling the trigger on that right now. And I still think you should be pulling the trigger on that right now, but I think you should be very cautious. And that's more important, I think, as a learning trader to learn is, why am I thinking this way? What is making me make these decisions? What am I looking for? What's my process that I go through to get to that decision to hit that button? That is worth way more than somebody saying, buy now, stop here, take profit there, in my opinion. And it's the old, thing that goes back to the Bible where you teach a man to fish and he'll feed himself for the rest of his life. I can give you signals, but what happens if I get coronavirus and get bedridden for a month? You can't trade. That's it. That's the end. You have to go off and find something else to do. If you teach yourself to trade and you can make those decisions actively yourself, doesn't matter where I am or what I'm doing, whether I'm making a fortune or whether I'm losing a fortune. It's got nothing to do with your profitability as a trader. If you follow my analysis and you like my analysis and the way that I think about the markets and the way that I use support resistance, brilliant. That's all you need, isn't it? To make your own decisions. But everybody's got a different risk tolerance. Everybody's got a different ability to hold a position. And that's one of the reasons I built the EA, because the EA takes a lot of those decisions out of your hands. If you want to get out after the market has moved 1 ADR in your direction, you set the EA to do that, and you let the EA do that. You don't look at that chart. Yeah. And that's exactly what the EA is doing for me on my other accounts. This is my EA that I'm testing at the moment, so ignore that one. But all the other EAs basically that I've got running are just running, my strategies, and I don't do anything. Yeah, you take the human out of the process, the trades will work. But the problem is the human still has to be watching this. I'm watching this 2 or 3 times a day, checking what's going on, because I need to adjust. If stuff starts to go wrong, I need to step in and make a decision on whether or not I'm going to pull the plug, do some aggressive drawdown control or what? Yeah, so pound yen at the moment is in 5% of drawdown. I'm going to be looking to step in if we get a continuation on the pound yen in the wrong direction. I'm going to have to step into this. So like I said, I'm long bias on it, but my rules on the trend pullback told the EA to get in as a buy, and it's doing exactly what it's programmed to do. But I will start to close some of this out using the profits gained if I really, really don't like the look of it. But at the moment, as it stands on pound yen, I haven't got a reason to do that because 4 hour is massively extended. Hourly has just come out of an extension, put in a reverse alert and a W formation. And I've got clear levels of support and resistance and targets above to aim for. So I'm going to let it run. If this closes down there, I'm going to start doing some drawdown control on that. But that's my thought process, yeah? And to me, my thought process on what I'm going to do and why I'm going to do it is more important whether or not I'm going to let the EA continue or give a signal to go long or short, yeah? But that's just me, And if you don't like the way I trade, then go and find someone else. Not being horrible, that's what you do. That's what I've done for the last decade. I've hopped from mentor to mentor, from system to strategy, from book to book. I've learned everything I possibly could absorb, and I've taken everything that I learned that worked for me and bungled it together and made my own way of trading. And that's what everybody needs to do. If this way of working is agreeing with you 90%, use that 90% and go and find another 10% to add to it. That's what it's all about. You've got to find your own way. You give 1,000 people a profitable strategy that makes somebody £1 million a year. 995 of them will just lose because it's not them. It doesn't fit them. Yeah. Okay. So enough ramblings. That's it for today. I haven't really got anything else. I'll be back at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and we'll have a look at where we are with US dollar especially and the indices. And then I will be doing a little bit more futures this afternoon, deciding on which way we are going to go. And as I said, news-wise, we've got 9 o'clock, which has already gone, the euro. We've had the euro news this morning. Let's just see if anything happened on the euro. At 9 o'clock. Not a lot. Down. Yeah, so whatever happened on that business climate, it was positive. There you go. Positive to the euro's come down. See, just paying attention to the news. So I'll be back scalping this afternoon at around about 2 o'clock, ready for the open. So anything you need, come into the Telegram group. I'm always in the Telegram group. You can discuss strategies and systems or whatever you want to do in there. And hopefully have a profitable afternoon. A lot of this stuff that we've been looking at is all starting to play out nicely. So hopefully any positions that you've got into on the extensions and everything this week are all going the right way at the minute by the looks of things. So hopefully you have a profitable morning again. But anything else you need, let me know. Stick it in the Telegram group. If you like the stream, give me a thumbs up. And I'll be back at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and I will see you then.